Welcome to Trope Talk with Michelle and Victorine. We are the writing gals, and we're going to talk about friends to lovers trope today. I adore this trope. How about you, Michelle?
I like it better than second chance romance, that's for sure. Now, are we
Awesome.
calling it just friends to lovers or best friends to lovers? Is that like
I
another level?
I think it could be both, don't you think?
Yeah.
Because I've seen it where like you have a group of friends and one of them likes one of the other group, in the group, so they're not like the two of them aren't best friends, but they're friends, you know, in a in a in a sense,
Yeah.
because they all hang out together. But I've also seen it total best friends,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
where they fall in love.
And I think it really works best the closer you can make the relationship, because the conflict of this trope is
Yes,
I don't want to risk my friendship by pursuing something romantic.
I
Because if I get
agree.
rejected and they don't want me, then it ruins the relationship that I treasure so much, right? So
Yes.
that's the conflict is and so I think the closer you make them, the more vulnerable they are, the more,
Nice.
destructive or terrifying that possible
Yes.
rejection would be.
Yes. And have you written any friends to lovers?
I've written a lot of them. In fact, I
Wow.
have a whole young adult series where it's a group of friends. Mm. Yeah,
Nice.
and so there's a lot of that, play into it, and sometimes that best friend is actually, like, their best friend's older brother that they're also close to and
Mm.
consider friends, and so,
Mhm.
you can have more than one relationship, um, involved in their, like, decision, like,
Mhm.
sometimes it might be I might never see them again if they reject me, but it might also be like, we're tied to each other forever
Yeah.
because of all these other connections, and so that adds even more risk.
Yes, absolutely. So the friends to lovers trope is you've got friends who either one or both of them start falling in love with the other one. Now, a lot of times I've seen it where one has secretly been in love with the other one for a long time and just doesn't want to say anything.
Right.
So that's often what you see, but you don't have to do that. You can just have them just start noticing things as the book starts.
Yeah.
So that's the adhesion. That's what sticks them together is that they're friends and they spend a lot of time together, which is really nice because you don't need any outside force forcing them together in that trope. They're just naturally going to spend a lot of time together.
Yes.
And the thing that stops them from saying "I'm falling for you" is that fear that they're going to ruin their friendship. So that's
Yeah.
usually what repels them as well.
Yeah,
So
so there has to be some kind of catalyst that pushes a change.
yes, exactly. So often it is something at the beginning of the book, like your inciting incident is something that sets off that change, just like
Yeah.
Michelle said.
So I've seen where one of them is leaving for some reason.
Mm,
Maybe if it's young adult, they're going off to college, or maybe if they're adults, there's like a job change on the horizon, or they're thinking about moving for some reason. And so it puts a time limit
that's
on,
good.
like how they have to make this decision, how soon they have to make it. Before they were
Mhm.
just letting things ride because they were too afraid to take that risk. But now there's some kind of clock ticking. If
Yes.
I don't make a move by this point, I might never have the chance again.
Yes.
And I think jealousy is another one, and it's probably my favorite. There has to be,
Mm,
again, something that makes them forces them to take that risk, and sometimes it's the risk of losing them to somebody else.
mhm.
So, what do you think about jealousy? Do you like
I think that can be really well done. Yes, definitely. But don't make them creepy jealous. 'Cause
it
they're
just has to be like, "Okay, this person is, you know, a potential" what's the word? Not suitor for this person, but a potential rival for me.
Mhm.
And, and maybe it's all a misunderstanding. I love that particular twist to the trope where they think they're starting a relationship with someone, and then so that pushes them to try and then come to find out it was all a misunderstanding in the first place. Um, but I love this in combination with the "he fell first" trope, which
Ah,
is one of
yes.
my I started thinking about it a while back, and I think I have very few exceptions to not using that trope. I think I have a "he fell first" in almost every book I write. It's just my absolute favorite.
Well, it's heart fluttering when he's pursuing her, right?
It is. So I think all of my best friends to lovers, he has liked her for a long time instead of the other way around. It's
Nice.
usually one direction. And so you have to figure out also like it's fun because they know so much about each other that they know each other's favorite cereal, what movies they like all the little teeny tiny details about each other's lives. And they've been there through all these hard points and they've shown loyalty to this relationship with this person and they depend on each other. And so I love that when they start to like this whatever changes, they start to feel chemistry, which is a different element for one of them,
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
And that is probably gonna be shocking for the one that didn't have any idea that those feelings
Yes,
existed or could exist. And
absolutely.
that's one of my favorite parts of the trope, is
Yes.
that story beat where the one that is clueless about
Mhm.
the romantic feelings has that first, like, heart flutter, and they're like, "What? What was that? No, I can't feel this way about my best friend."
Exactly. So the most recent one I wrote was A Necessary Nudge Out of the Friend Zone, and that is a story where they were really best friends up until he, moves to LA and becomes an actor, becomes famous, and so they get estranged, and there's a story behind why they're estranged, but she actually gets engaged and tries to marry someone else, but runs away from the wedding because she's still in love with her best friend, and that's what sets off the, story. She decides she's going to find him, reconnect with him, and try and make something work with him, so
Yeah, and then I like that aspect of one of them has to become the pursuer,
yes,
the suitor, so to speak. And
absolutely.
so sometimes you kinda have to balance that, like, one of them is pushing, pushing, pushing to and one is like, "No, no, no," right? But at some point, one of my favorite story beats with this trope is also where the one pursuing finally just for whatever reason kind of gets hurt or like decides this isn't going to work out and steps back or something happens and then the role reverses and then
Mhm.
the other one pursues back because they realize what they've done, what they've lost or
That's a
you know,
great one.
so I like that story beat to be part of this trope where there's a role reversal in who is pursuing the other.
Nice. So I wrote down some movies that work with this trope. Win a Date with Tad Hamilton, Just Friends with Ryan Reynolds. That's kind of an obscure one, but One Day with Anne Hathaway,
Mm.
Some Kind of Wonderful, which is a really old 80s movie, but it is really cool if you have never seen it. If you've never seen it, just go to YouTube and look up their kiss. 'Cause it's a practice kiss, cause he likes another girl, and his best friend is like, "Well, you better know how to kiss." So they practice kiss. It's really
Yes.
good. 13 Going on 30 is another really good
Mhm.
one, and When Harry Met Sally. So those are some good, friends to lovers movies you
Yep.
can check out
If we
or
wanna take
research.
this classic, I think you could also add Emma by Jane
Mm,
Austen in there.
yes.
That's probably one of the earliest friends to lover romances out there because they grew up or she grew up with him always there in her life,
Yes.
and you definitely have that friends to lovers trope going on there.
That's a
So,
good one.
mhm.
Alright, what are some tropes that go with friends to lovers?
So we always have to bring in that other woman or other man character. I mean, you don't have to.
Mhm.
It's one of my favorites because of the jealousy aspect of it.
Good idea.
Yeah. What about you?
I wrote some down. All grown up is one. If you've had
Mhm.
friends that are separated from, and then all of a sudden they see each other, and one of them is like, maybe he's muscular now, and he was all wimpy before, something like that.
Yes.
Fake relationship is always fun with friends. It's like, I need a date. You come with me. Pretend to be my relationship. Billionaire works with lots, like everything.
Hey, if you have a billionaire best friend, you should have figured out the romance for a long time ago.
Celebrity jilted bride works really good because if who are you going to run to if your fiance left you at the altar?
Yep.
Matchmaker, that I've done that one. Boy next door, which works really well with best
Yes.
friends, and boss employee works really good too.
I also think like knight in shining armor
Oh yeah,
works really good because the best friend character is usually really protective,
yes,
very, very protective. And sometimes they don't even realize that they're being protected until
yes,
like that's gone for some reason. Right. So I
yes.
really like, and I also think the forbidden love
Mm-hmm.
aspect of it. You don't have to make it a forbidden love. They could just be best friends and there's not really any conflict except their own like
Yeah,
fear, their
inner
inner conflict.
conflict. Mm-hmm.
But you can add another element that makes this change from friend to lover forbidden.
Mm-hmm.
Like for example, it might be that like the best friend's older brother kind of additional aspect to it because your best friend might hate that you get involved with um,
Yes.
her brother. Or it might be that your best friend has a major crush on
Mm-hmm.
the friend to lover person, which would make it like I can't ever like this person because that would ruin this other friendship that I have.
Yeah.
So I always think it adds a little spice if you can add some forbidden aspect to this.
Yes. Good.
Yeah.
Any last thoughts on this trope?
Um, no, except that I think that the more awkward you can make a first kiss in this trope, the better. Like, in a
Nice.
lot of other tropes, you can go right into, like, a really steamy, passionate kiss if you want to, but I think with this one, you need to make all those first steps into the romance part of it kind of awkward and shocking, and they need to, like, step back and take a break or, like, hate, like, "Oh my gosh." I also think they need to fumble and, like, do dorky things, and, that's all really a fun part of moving into the physical intimacy side of this trope.
Mm.
How about you? Any final thoughts from you?
Oh, I guess my final thought is, yeah, definitely give them a lot of inner conflict over the changes that are happening inside of them and within their relationship, and
Yeah.
that will make it delicious.
Oh, I thought of something else that I love. It's when other people in the story already have known that they had feelings for each other for a long time,
Hmm.
right? So it's that third person or even people that are like, "Yeah, we're not surprised at all," or like, "Did you finally figure out how you feel about them?" You know, I always love because sometimes you can get too inside your characters' heads,
Yes.
and so sometimes seeing from the outward perspective of others what your relationship looks like to them is a really fun moment and adds a lot of perspective and chance to have that character talk their feelings through with somebody and
Hmm.
can play into your matchmaker trope that you like.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yep. And if you want a Korean drama, Love Next Door is
Oh my goodness.
friends to lovers, and, of course, he's the boy next door, and he falls first, so
Yes. Yes.
it's a good one.
I'm 4 episodes behind because I think I need to just deep like binge the rest of it.
Yes,
So I've seen really good things about the last 2 episodes.
yes.
I haven't watched
I won't say anything. No spoilers.
Well, this has been amazing. So excited to talk about our next trope, which is going to be enemies to lovers, which is
Yes.
my personal favorite.
Nice.
But between now and then, what should people be looking for from us? Conference,
Yes, we have our conference
which is
coming up
next week.
next week. So, yeah, definitely if you are not involved with the conference, go to our Facebook group. You can read all about it in there. We have lots of posts about the conference. Sign up because it's going to be amazing.
Yes. And anytime you want to, and if the conference is over by the time you watch this, you can always go to thewritinggals.com because we have the Writing Gals Academy that you
Mhm.
can sign up and watch classes from our treasure trove of courses that we keep on a subscription basis for people. So be sure and check that out too. And we'll talk
Yes.
to you guys next week.
All right. Bye.
Toodaloo!